Hey there, thank you for watching. Today I'm making a video about gut feeling or intuition and our polyvagal theory understanding of what that means. So our nervous systems are collecting information all the time about our own bodies, about the world out there, and about our relationship with other people, yeah, how we relate to others. And it is the combination of these three different realms that gives us what we call perhaps intuition. However, this is data that's collected below our level of awareness, yeah? So our conscious mind below that. And an example of that would be that I come into a room and I think that maybe the energy is off. But actually, that is information that comes from the body. Yeah, so I instinctively, in a gut feeling kind of way, I might very quickly know this doesn't feel right. And there's nothing mystical about that, because once we understand the nervous system and how it works and the speed at which information is processed, collected and processed, then we know that perhaps what that was about is that my nervous system gathered a whole array of information that didn't feel right. They didn't feel safe. Yeah, because when the nervous system collects information, the autonomic nervous system, it's collecting information really in service of survival. So, am I safe or am I not safe? So, when I walked into that room and felt that this doesn't feel good, perhaps it's because I picked up on a couple of facial expressions that didn't feel familiar, or that maybe reminded me of somebody I don't feel safe with. Perhaps the smell of the room also reminded me of something I don't like. And perhaps there was actually something going on in the environment that didn't feel safe either. But very quickly, we collect that information to know, I don't like this. And sometimes it's very obvious, and sometimes it's a lot more subtle. But it's nevertheless the polyvagal understanding of how the gut feeling or the intuition works. And this is just one example. Now, sometimes that's accurate and sometimes that's inaccurate, because sometimes we all experience a mismatch between what we are picking up and what is actually happening, right? So I'm sure we're all familiar with feeling unsafe in safe spaces and feeling perhaps safe, or not picking up on the unsafety of a situation. The reasons for that are varied, and trauma has a lot to do with that, as does other factors, but it does happen. I think the magic really happens when we invite perception into neuroception. So neuroception is what I've been talking about, is our nervous system's way of picking up all these cues of safety and danger. The perception meeting neuroception is where we are then able to reflect on our experience and become embodied about it. So then we can really feel into our intuition and think, what is happening and what do I want to do? What do I want to do with it? I want to invite you today to connect to that gut feeling that pulled you towards something rather than away from something. And again, maybe this will be a subtle exercise for you. Some perhaps it will be a lot more obvious. We'll see. So let's just take a second to feel into where the body is, whether or not you're comfortable. Hopefully you are in a place where you do feel safe. If you don't, I would suggest that you stop the video and that you go back to when you have been able to control the environment enough that it feels possible to connect with your intuition. Yeah. Let's have a look around the room where you are. And I'm going to ask you to see if you can connect with an object or a color or a shape that you observe, that you see, that you feel a pull towards. Yeah, so that you feel interested in a way that feels pleasant. And I'm having a little look myself. And actually, as I say that, I notice that actually what I'm being pulled towards is not an object, but it is the fresh breeze that is coming from this window. So I'm actually just going to note that. And that's what I want you to note, is note how the object or note how the sensation feels in the body. Yeah. So the wonderful things about somatics is that there is no set agenda and that things are allowed to happen just organically. So I sort of shift from the exercise from an object to a sensation, and you're very welcome to do the same. So I'm just stopping here to see how that feels. And we're just really arriving in the room. Yeah, we're just allowing the body to register that we're here, that we are feeling safe, hopefully, and that it is safe to connect with the body. So now I'm going to ask you to think of one person in your life, of the present moment or from the distant past, it doesn't matter. I want you to try to think of a person. See who comes to mind when you think of somebody whom you felt a pull towards the first time you met them. Yeah? So, in other words, did you have a good, juicy, joyful, good gut feeling when you met this person? Who is this person for you? And maybe someone comes to mind straight away. Maybe you have to stop this video to connect and then go back to it when you found that one person. Or maybe you can't really think of anyone, in which case it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you at all. Maybe you haven't met somebody who have made you feel that way, or maybe you didn't notice that they did. But if you have been able to identify somebody, try to bring to your mind's eye, or actually, if you can't bring things to your mind's eye in the shape of images, try to recall in whatever way works for you, meeting that person for the first time. And as you think of that, I want you to notice or see if you can connect with how that felt in your body to meet them. Was there any sensation or feeling or any other manifestation of feeling a pull towards them? Like, this felt good. This is good. I like this person. So to me, I often come to my chest and a feeling of warmth. And perhaps as we are doing this, you're actually able to connect with the individual elements that registered as being safe. So maybe it was the tone of the person's voice, or maybe it was their gaze, or maybe it was the way they smelled or the way they moved. There must have been something. So whatever that something was, try to bring it to your mind. And just see how your body feels now. Just stopping here in this awareness of meeting this person or connecting with this intuition that you had, that this person felt right. And maybe you listened to that and actually did move forward and spoke to this person, reached out to this person. I'm feeling like I want to sort of smile as I think of my person, that this was nice, that this felt good, that almost like my body remembers or knows when something feels good. Now that we have done that, perhaps you can continue tuning in your own time to what signals, what cues does your body send you when something doesn't feel so good or so safe. We're all very familiar, I'm sure, of knowing when something doesn't feel right and ignoring that, and what it feels like to ignore it. But next time your body does send information about not being safe, when the vibe isn't right, try to connect with where in your body does that feel, and what is it that you notice. So last night I was in a situation that felt unsafe, and I knew very quickly I didn't want to go to a particular part of the room where I was, because it meant I couldn't leave. But I went anyway. and it was okay to do so. And it was a situation where I actually did have to go. So I brought in neuroception with perception, so that I'm not being ruled necessarily by only my unconscious bodily processes. But it was nevertheless valuable information to pay attention to what was it that my body was telling me and how it was feeling, even though I decided to override it in that moment. In other moments I might not have. So notice that, write it down, make a list. It's particularly useful, I find, sometimes to write these things down, to just really see what is the pattern, what is the consistent pattern that shows up in our body for safety and unsafety. What is your gut feeling telling you? I hope you have found it helpful. I hope you can carry this person that we thought of with you for a little longer today. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.